A few days ago, we learned that Serral still has what it takes to beat Protoss. How about Zerg versus Terran? What I've got for you today is a best of 3 series, where in game number 1, we find ourselves on a map called Sanctuary 3. Spawning, of course, right here in the bottom left, we have none other than Serral, the world champion of StarCraft 2 and widely considered to be the greatest SC2 player of all time. His opponent, apparently spawning with the scared squirrel. Is that a squirrel? I guess it is. On the main command center, playing with the blue Terran pieces, we're looking inside of the main base of Percival. Now, Percival has been making very solid improvements over the last couple of years. I've been very impressed by especially his Zerg versus Terran. I think it's been very solid. The thing is, this right here is Serral, right? And we've learned, at the very least in Zerg versus Protoss, in that series against Showtime, that this man is just on another level. It's almost unfair. I feel like if you're a Zerg player at the pro level and you look at, well, how the games go for you, and then you compare how the games seem to go for Serral, it just seems like his units spawn with 1-1 upgrades or something. That, like, his APM is just a little bit faster, as everything's just a little bit crisper. It's the little details, a couple percentage points here and there, that really do end up having a very significant result in the end game, especially. So I do think that this is going to be an uphill battle for Percival. Serral apparently feeling very vicious there, even putting a couple of the drones to ensure the kill on the SCV. You know, I think the SCV was always going to die, since it decided to engage against Zerglings on creep. This is a cheeky pool first build right here from the finisher. A little bit odd. Drone in the meantime just sneaks around. Percival knew, though, that there wasn't going to be enough minerals available for a new expansion just yet anyways. Is he going to be able to block it? Is he going to be able to block it? He will be able to block it. All right. Confidence right here from Percival. You do love to see it. He could have gone after the drone immediately, but he knew he wasn't going to get it anyways. Instead, he decided to secure the kill on the Zergling. Throws the grenade there at Brenda. She's gonna have to back off, put down a little creep tumor, and then eventually, maybe we can get to a third base. Nice bit of body blocking here too, but we get a drone. Not quite yet, because he doesn't want to lose the SC or the Reaper Rudder. So already some high-level decision-making right here by Percival, and at the bare minimum, he's not just straight up intimidated. A couple of Zerglings, though, did finish up their metabolic boost, and that is gonna be the end of 2 Marines here. Yeah, maybe even an SCV or 2 if you're not careful. We are going to see the switcheroo. Serral can sometimes try and block it. No, we're going to need to have another worker here. Reaper does ultimately get the job done, but that is now also 2 SCVs dying in total in this game, which is quite significant. But at the very least, even though we have 2 dead SCVs, we now also have 2 terrified squirrels inside of the main base, and then also the natural. So, you know, that's... It's something. I was going to say that's kind of nice, but I don't know. I don't really know if that's nice. All right, double gases on the other side of the map for just a moment. Serral actually doing that, though, just to go above the supply limit. So he apparently hit a bit of a supply block here. Some uncharacteristic mistakes. Nothing all too significant, though. Sanctuary 3, by the way, is one of the new maps from the Team Liquid map contest. It is not yet confirmed whether or not this one is going to turn into one of the official ladder maps, but it does seem that the top-of-the-line pro gamers enjoy it quite a bit. So what's pretty cool about the upcoming new map pool is that 3 of the maps are decided by popular vote, 3 of the maps are decided by the pro players, and then 3 of the maps are decided by the tournament organizers and then the people hosting the TLMC. So honestly, a pretty cool system. We have the 3 from the popular vote already in. I'm assuming, though, that a lot of the pros will probably enjoy this map, because at least judging by a lot of the games that I've seen, this map seems to get picked. Right? And usually that is a good indicator that the players enjoy playing on it. The TLMC had, like, I think it was 16 finalists. And I feel like this map was picked a little bit more frequently than some of the others. Anyhow, it's going to be a lair right now on the back of this, together with a Raven on the other side of the map. Little bit funky to go for the Raven. Really nice, though, if you plan on keeping the Zerg player at bay. Right, because you can contain the creep spreads. Serral, though, really wants to get to the 9. Beautiful bit of micro here by the Zerg. Even though usually Hellions are the ones killing Zerglings, in this particular case, it has not been, well, at all. We have 4 Hellions dying, 6 Zerglings only in total. Really not what you're hoping for here, even though Percival is not having a bad start on the whole in this game. Hellions are... kind of excusable. You don't necessarily need to keep him around. But it is going to give Serral this momentum, right? And One of the big problems now is that you made the big investment into that Raven. I was trying to say that you can use it to as a detector, right? To try and snipe some of the creep tumors with the Hellions. But with 4 Hellions dying, I don't really know if you can still move out. And since at this point we've already swapped that reactor here to marine production instead, since we need to start putting in siege tank production here on the factory, we can't really go back to Hellion production anymore. What is this? Percival's starting up a bit of a wall here. Huh. I've been playing a lot of Age of Empires 2 over the last couple of weeks myself. Maybe Percival has been as well, man. He's trying to build up his palisade walls over here. Make sure that the archers and the scouts in the early game can't get in. I don't know. Maybe that's what we're trying to do. Serral, though, celebrating the early game advantage by building up 2 hatcheries now. One of them also kind of like that supply depot in the middle of nowhere. This one, though, will just be for larva generation. It is an indication that Serral wants to stick around on a Zergling-based army for a long time, because while Zerglings and Banelings are very cheap when it comes to the minerals and gas cost, they are quite expensive when it comes to larva, and in a way that really is like a third resource that Zergs need to juggle. Serral trying to snatch a couple more of those Hellions. Percival, though, has come prepared, right? He knows what, well, this Zerg player is capable of doing, and it seems like he's been prepping for this particular map especially. Infestation pit here for the Zerg. I'm assuming we will be seeing... Oh, we are going to snipe a couple of creep tumors, not bad. I'm assuming we will be seeing the hive fire up here in just a moment. It is a bit of an investment to make, though, and, well, with centrifugal hooks finishing up, I think Zerg is mostly safe against this type of attack. Man, imagine if those couple of creep tumors died a little earlier if the Hellions had not gone down. Then suddenly this attack would be able to start its attack, its engagement right next to the 3rd base. Marines, though, are gonna still be able to get some work done. Serral coming in from multiple sides now. The Zerglings from the north not spotted at all. There were still plenty of Banes available. And before this engagement even began, we already had the confidence of the defense as Serral fired up the hive. You don't generally make big investments like going into a hive if you are a little bit worried that you're gonna need your resources spent on unit production instead. The slow circle over here, though, really has been quite a nuisance thus far. Those Marines, okay, do get picked up in the end. We need a lot more units here for the base defense. 1-1 done right now for Percival. He fired up 2-2. Are we going to see indeed a 4th command center? We will, so that one will probably get a planetary fortress in a moment. Banelings connect! Percival sleeping on the job for just a moment. And yet again, it's the little things. The early game Hellions, the Marines just not paid attention to for about 0.1 second, right? Like, it's really not a whole lot of time. But you make mistakes like that, and Zerg will be able to grab the advantage really quickly. By no means, though, is this a landslide advantage here for Serral. But the game is becoming more comfortable. Especially with things such as creep spread, especially with things such a really quick hive, right? We're going now into Vipers. I'm assuming we'll get an Ultralisk Cavern going in a moment. We'll certainly be getting the Adrenal Glands upgrade as well. That will be a straight attack speed improvement for those links. And Percival is kind of stuck now in his opening corner. He's still trying to, yeah, force a little bit of movement out on the map. Apparently we have an auto turret thrown down by that Raven, only on a single HP. Marines and Widowmine still putting in some work. I wonder if we needed to unburrow that Widowmine. Good splitty right there by Serral. And I think the Raven will likely not be able to go home. Maybe. It might have actually even accepted its own fate here. Okay, there's the Ultra Cavern. Vipers are getting themselves a little bit of energy. Parasitic Bomb, Blinding Clouds, all of it is really nice. Spire coming up, there's the Raven falling. I'm a little bit worried that Serral may have forgotten Adrenal Glands. Usually, you start it up right around the same time as you start up the Vipers here. Or maybe if you start up the Ultra Cavern, but now going into a Spire before Adrenal Glands is a little bit worrisome. I will say that at the highest level, Adrenal Glands is probably the most forgotten upgrade that actually has an impact on the outcome of the game. So Adrenal Glands is a straight up attack speed improvement for Zerglings, and it basically increases their damage output significantly. Yeah, Serral's still not starting it up despite having the money for it for a while. I think it must have been a mistake. Oh, no. Oh, no. That's actually a big error. I'm hoping for his sake that he catches onto this really soon, because it is going to give Percival a way back in this game. You're just simply missing a lot of damage output in the late game. Good drop here as well in the bottom right. Despite a lot of losses, Percival is keeping up the pressure. 3-3 fires up here in the evolution chambers. Still no Adrenal Glands. That's crazy. Ghost Academy in the meantime on the other side of the map. Command Center production has indeed begun. Percival is going to take the approach that a lot of the Korean Terrans are very fond of, and that is indeed mass command center. Already a base is being taken here, though, from the Terran. Usually this particular spot on Sanctuary 3 is for the player in blue here. Serral does not care. Apparently he didn't read the rules of the game. Yeah, we're going +1 air weapons here, +1 flyer, before ever starting Adrenal Glands or any flying unit for that matter. Vipers, of course, do not benefit from attack upgrades because they don't have an attack. Night does not work as well on the back of this. Serral has made a gigantic mistake. He probably clicked it, started the upgrade, or at least believed he started the upgrade. Microbial Shroud. Wow, anabolic synthesis as well. So this is Microbial Shroud, and that's the movement speed for the Ultralisk. He probably clicked it, thought he started it up, and never went back to check. When your macro is too crisp, when your spending is too solid, sometimes you don't have the money to go for one of those upgrades. Okay. Hatcheries are being taken left, right, and center, though. Good split arrow, that's circling at the last possible second. Only 2 kills on the Widow Mine. The Marines, though, put in quite a bit more work. Planetary Fortress is now going to be done here as well on this low ground area. This is one of the most dangerous bases to take on Sanctuary 3. It feels like a nice safe little pocket with like a cliff against your back, but it's not. A lot of units from the high ground especially can very easily arrest this. This was the hatchery that Showtime struggled against. If you did see that particular Zerg versus Protoss. Oh, he actually just restarts the base yet again. Greedy, man. Crazy. Yoink. Parasitic Bomb. Couple Corruptors. That'll be the end of that medevac. Another hatchery kill though on the other side in the meantime. An eye for an eye. I feel like Percival over the last couple years gained like 200 APM. I don't know. He never was a particularly slow player. But I don't remember ever thinking, dang, this guy's he's fast. But he's actually able to go toe-to-toe here with Serral APM-wise. And he's able to control most of it properly. Now, this again, though, is an oversight. No medevacs nearby. Yeah, and that will cost him. Drone decides to just burrow now to maybe be a little bit more annoying later on in the game. All right, Neural Parasite coming up as well here for the man from Finland. Not a lot of crazy targets available to Neural just yet, but you never know. Ghost, for example. Neuraling a ghost and then EMPing the other ghosts. It's a bit of a tricky thing to do, but it does allow the Ultralisk to then crash in, because there's no more worries for snipes. Night is Worm, though, in the corner of the main base. Percival already had units prepared to try and deal with that. Building armor coming up. High-sec auto-tracking. No upgrades forgotten here for Percival. We're even going to go into the really quick +1 arrow weapons here for Terran. Okay. Of course, this is not the new PTR for StarCraft 2, so those changelings are still the old version. A little bit more difficult to for Terran to clean all of those up. Ghosts are right now coming out, though, 3 at a time. And the number will very quickly grow. Of course, they're also still 2 supply each. Nice targeting there with the siege tank. Getting 6 kills onto the banelings. And look, considering the early game, the fact that Percival is in this spot at all is really impressive. He did not have a good start in this match, and he has managed to wiggle his way out of this position. He's got command centers for days now. How many do we have at the moment? 3 and then 8 orbitals over here, 2 planetaries. Yeah, we can still add on a few more if we want to, and he is building up a couple more. The upper limit is usually like 20 to 25 command centers or so. At that point, it seems to become, as he kills another hatchery down south, at that point, it seems to become a bit of a problem where you just simply don't have enough resources anymore to mine on the map. But he's got all the CCs that he needs. Planetary will get torn to pieces, but There will be plenty of command centers that can replace it. And this is never a cost-effective trait for the Zerg player, right? So you end up rolling a lot of Banelings and whatnot into the planetary fortress. Terran can just replace it with a fresh new one. Command centers are 400 minerals. Obviously, it depends on if you want to go orbital or planetary fortress for what the total cost of the structure is. But Zerg needs to be rich in order to just be sending Banelings to their deaths. Because Banelings are 50 minerals, 25 gas each. They're not super cheap, so honestly, I don't really mind it for Terran whenever we see a planetary getting torn to bits like that when they already have a lot of additional command centers available too. Man, this guy was making the long trek and now it needs to... Poor command center here, man. This guy just finished and he took the primary seat. I keep glancing at the production tab, by the way. No Adrenal Glands. We're missing out on a lot of attack speed here on the Zerglings, and it's going to be costing Serral in every single one of these fights. Ultras crashing through, blinding clouds, parasitic bombs. Ghosts are running in as well from the top now. These ghosts, of course, are only 2 supply each. Well, you may kill some SCVs, but you're not gonna just knock down the Terran's mining to 0 in just an instant. Yeah. This will be here for a little bit. The Terran income advantage, because of the yellow mining machines here, is not so bad. And we're celebrating with more command centers. How many command centers do you need? Caustic spray is being used. He decides to just break the leash by flying the CCs a little bit further north. Vikings coming out. Advanced ballistics is going to be available too. We have a Nidus Worm in the back of the Terran's main now, but plenty of ghosts. Are we playing with that skin? Really? Nice. That's always, whenever I have played Terran on stream, this is always by far the most popular ghost skin. For some reason, I wonder why. Alright, Ultraling Bane crashes into double planetary fortress. Orbital commands decide to lift off to try and create a little bit more movement. Honestly, feel like that movement was beneficial for the Zerg, more so than for the Terran. But Serral here is playing the least efficient game you can against Terran here. Look at the banks right now. Yeah, Serral is rich, but it's not like Percival is poor. If we keep trading like this, and we never get Adrenal Glands, right? Percival is actually fine. Nice rock blowing here as well. Just making sure that he does not indeed get surrounded. The ghost numbers are really solid. Percival going toe-to-toe, man. This expansion, of course, was taken by the Zerg for a moment, but he has certainly secured it with so many planetary fortresses. What I'm a little worried for, though, because we have seen a couple micro slip-ups from the Terran already, is that at some point, one fungal growth is going to catch this entire clump of ghosts, and that the rest of the Zerg army is going to come crashing in. Serral has been playing a sharper game. He has been playing a more precise strategy in general. And you gotta be so careful. 86 workers here for the Zerg, 72 for the Terran. I honestly like this position for Percival, though. Like, he's done a wonderful job macro-wise. His defense has been good enough. I keep checking. Ultra, movement speed, Overlord, Burrow, Zergling speed, Baneling speed, +3, +1, +3, +1, +2. Ultra movement speed. Yeah, we get the Neural Parasite and the Parasitic Bomb. We don't have Adrenal Glands. I'm always a little worried whenever I make a call for an upgrade missing that I am somehow looking over it myself. We do actually need Caduceus. Okay, Caduceus Reactor for Terran. Percival is getting that right now. That is the Medevac Energy Regen. Man, Percival is absolutely turtled up to the gills here. Absolutely insane. And turtles don't even have gills. Do they? No. There might be like an Australian turtle or so. I don't know. If there is a turtle with gills out there, it's probably Australian is all I'm trying to get at. But he is very, very safe here. Zerglings are nibbling away at whatever they can hit. What's really nice here for Serral is that he's burrowing a Zergling anytime that he goes for an attack like this, right? So that is what ultimately, there we go, is providing vision here for the Zerg to continuously put down these Nidus worms. Percival is onto it now, and obviously he's got scans for days. Okay. We make more CCs? So how many command centers did we lose? We lost 4 command centers in total in this game. We still have 5 over here. That's 9 plus 8 is 17 plus 4 is 21. And we're making a few... Okay, we've basically reached the upper limit now. It kind of depends on the total amount of mining bases. Man, doing math while casting a game. Never do that. Anyways. You gotta be careful that you run out of... That you still... Oh, microbial shrouds. That you still have enough resources to be mining, right? So we see these Zerg armies crash into planetaries and Terran compositions in general here all the freaking time. It is never gonna be cost effective for Zerg. Oh, we even have a tactical nuke added into the mix. Not bad. It's never gonna be cost effective. Zerg is always gonna be losing more money. But as long as Serral can mine out more than 50% of the map, he's going to be okay, right? That's exactly what Percival's game plan is right now. He wants to make sure that he mines a total of roughly 50% of the map's total resources. Most of these bases have been nibbled at by some drones. A little difficult to pull off, but honestly, he's been doing a remarkably good job. There will be a moment, if this goes on for long enough, where Serral will have to swap from just busting all of those Terran exposed bases here with Banelings and Ultras. He will have to swap over to something more sustainable. The Zerg may have to go green in the long run, you know? They may have to ban paper straw... Oh, no, wait. Well, maybe they should ban paper straws. Paper straws are kind of ass. But you get what I'm trying to say, right? Like, maybe we need to be a little bit more careful. We have a bunch of changelings here trying to be annoying. Zerglings trying to break through yet again. So many planetaries left, right, and center. That will be another one that will get denied. That's why we did go for the Spire, though. Serral already has research +3 flyer. Now he's gonna go into the +3 armor as well. +3 flyer attacks, that is. Likewise, we see the same thing happening on the other side of the map. Percival just using a single armory to slowly get everything. He already has the +3 armor. He's now getting the +3 attacks going as well. Smart servos, sure. We're rich anyways, you may as well. This increases the transformation speed of a bunch of units that can transform. Not super useful in this game, but... Man, I'm hoping here for Serral that he ever goes back and checks for Adrenal Glands. It's crazy. It's such a big mistake. Ooh, cheeky, cheeky. Percival loading a few SCVs into the planetary fortress, unloading them at the bottom before the planetary got blown up, saving a bunch of workers because of it. Another hatchery gets denied over here in the far bottom right. No medevac backup for these lads, but they will run back to the safety of the choke point. Serral retakes the location once more. So this is the base that Percival still wants to mine out. If I'm not mistaken, if he mines this one, he will have taken half of the map's total resources. The Marauder hit squad going in yet again. There's Zerglings burrowed all over the Terran's natural, all over the Terran's main base too. How many planetaries did we make this game, dude? We have so many. 6 of them have died. 3 of them available right now. 2 more coming. That's crazy. Serral dealing with mass planetary fortress so far in this game. And he is dealing with it, but yeah, the cost efficiency is not really that off the charts. Every time I open a unit's loss tab, I actually expect that Zerg has more losses than they do. But this is starting to add up, right? Like, we have nearly a fully mining base, like a fully mined out base of difference between these two right now. That's a lot. Not quite yet, but we're getting to that point. Fungal. Yep. That's nice. Medevac is also not gonna bite the dust somehow. Oh, the other one will. Cheeky. Those +3 ship weapons, or armor upgrades rather, kicking in. Ooh, nice Widow Mine. Very efficient Widow Mine. Ultras getting sniped across that little crevice. Ultimately, that meta effect does fall. Oh, will we get the hatch? He's already reduced the hatchery to a lot less HP. Okay. Here we go again. Notice how Serral is no longer really just throwing his army at a wall. Maybe he wants to continue it for a little bit longer. And if the opportunity arises, I think he will probably take another shot. Good EMP there. He will probably take another shot at killing another base. But you gotta be careful here as Zerg that you, even though you kind of feel rich with 20,000 resources in the bank, this Terran army is not gonna get any less cost efficient. Unless like a massive fungal hits. Look at Jimmy over here trying his best. I love the ghost here trying to sneak around the side, trying to go in for the EMP. The rocks do get blown to pieces as well. But I feel like the clock is ticking on this hatch. Serral did buy himself like a full minute though. Hatchery over on the far bottom right, also still mining in favor of the Zerg. And this is ultimately what Zerg really is looking for. It is going to extend this bank. We're going now though into the sky transitions for both players. Greater Spire coming up. Extra starports building as well. At the very least, both players want to be prepared for a tech transition in whatever direction they like. Honestly, maybe Percival will even take a base over here. There's about 1,000 minerals remaining, a little bit more on this particular expansion. There's also a lot of dirty larvae crawling on the floor. Ugh, disgusting. Now, I think he should set his sights over here, but denying the base on the right is good. Nice pre-splitting here as well by Percival, though, but the fungal growth is still annoying. Zerg units are invited within the range of the Liberation Zone. Good targeting there by Percival, too. Additional Zerglings are coming up. Do we have Adrenal Glands yet? No, we do not. Corruptors poking away at whatever they can hit. Percival is holding himself, though, right? Like, how many of you, when you saw the introduction of the two players, how many of you thought that this was going to be a landslide victory for Serral? Seriously. Percival has been making such steady improvements. It's so hard, right? Like, to break it, into the pro level of a game as mature as StarCraft. Because not only do you have to compete with guys that are ridiculously good at the game and have so many, well, years of advantage on you, you have to catch up and then some, right? Like, you're not only catching up is not enough. You need to be able to catch up and then improve faster than they are, which is not easily done. And Percival really has been making solid strides in that direction. Honestly, putting up a phenomenal game here. You also have to have the right mindset. So many players will crumble just because they are playing Serral. You can't go into this series thinking you're going to lose, right? But it may be your gut instinct. You have to believe you can get the job done, and he's doing so incredibly confidently. Here we go again. Ultra's ready to move through. Corruptors up in the air, putting in a lot of work. Parasitic bomb onto the Vikings. Actually, I thought that was a parasitic bomb. I may have been wrong there. Hatchery over here needs to be abandoned. Serral abandoned the hatchery on the left. He's now also abandoning the hatchery on the right. Scan indeed will confirm that Zerg has decided to back up for a moment at least. It's only a handful of units, Percival, not diving too deep. The hatchery is gone. That is looking like a juicy mineral line that Terran can potentially be mining. We have command centers for the job. Maybe this guy will get promoted with a planetary fortress. And look at this. He's simultaneously making a move for those disgusting larvae over on the far left. I'm starting to get nerd chills here for Percival, man. Drones and SCVs sharing minerals. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see drones and SC... Okay, no, I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not going to do it. I will spare you. Unless you don't hit the like button. I will continue singing if you... Okay, good. Glad you hit the like button to shut me up. Thank you, by the way. Appreciate that. All right. Command Center will try and grow a little planetary fortress hat on top of itself. Corruptors are still getting some free pickings here. Zorklings still killing whatever they can hit. So many SCVs are dying here. Likewise, though, drones are falling in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. And at this point, I honestly don't think you rebuild SCVs anymore. We've got how many orbitals? 13 orbital commands. Yeah, maybe send some workers, especially for the gases, but I think you can mine this with mostly mules. The Sky Zerg transition, though, is now well underway. The Corruptors and the Vipers have actually been picking off a lot. Planetary Fortress, indeed. I think we gotta lend some mules, man. We gotta lend some mules. Percival may be thinking himself rich. That's kind of the problem. You have a bank of like 14,000 resources. You think it's never gonna run out, but then you realize your neighbor has like 21,000. 22,000. 23. Anyways, don't do math while casting games. Another rule. Planetary is gonna be done. Microbial Shroud gets set up. That does reduce damage as well from the Liberators. Serral crashing in. So many missile turrets on the ground. Planetary Fortress is gone. I think Serral is going to be able to break open this spot, but only just barely. A lot of the Terran army supply was caught up, of course, on the other side of the map. That's the Ghost right now arriving. We're going to need another command center, but I think we've got one. A lot of low HP Ultralisks here. Parasitic Bomb now onto the Vikings. Good landing right there by the Terran. Oh, decides to also immediately lift up again. That will indeed get rid of it. Man, we can make a CC here. He's gonna fly an orbital? I guess he doesn't have a Bear Command Center available anymore. He does not. I do think we need to turtle this location up with a lot of stuff. Hey, but Percival has taken his half of the map. Serral is rebuilding a hatchery over here on a base that has not really enough mining to justify it. I think long distance mining, this one is fine. We are getting to the absolute endgame stages of this match. We're arriving at the part in the game that we don't get to very often, but we're arriving at the part in the game where there will not be any mining anymore. The entire map is just about empty. The majority of the resources are in the far bottom right, and Percival is harvesting those right now. Caustic Spray once more being used. Beautiful gameplay. That's 2 squirrels going down. Or at least squirrel decals. Tactical nuke never got used. We have 5 infestors here. I'm still kind of waiting for the moment where Serral... I don't really know what his trigger is, right? Like, when does he go for the switch on over towards Brute Lords? I'm not sure. I think we're just about getting to that point now. I'm guessing when he doesn't really need mobility as much anymore. Decent fungal growth over here, but a lot of low HP Zerg units rush in as well. Okay, that will be the end of some of the ghosts. Gobble, gobble, gobble them all up. That's a lot of mineral fields. There's some mining still going on over here. Base over on the left side is now pretty much out. I think we need to stop moving so much of our supply towards this location on the map. There's very little we're fighting for other than position. And this is a lot of Terran army supply caught. No. We don't need more CCs. Stop, Percival! Percival starts up another command center. Okay, Brute Lord transition is in. Serral, indeed, is now no longer needing to go around the map. Raiding the map is nice with Zerglings and Ultras, but this Zerg army does not need to be nearly as mobile anymore. We're now going green here with the Zerg. We are banning plastic straws. He's built solar panels on top of his hatcheries. Hellions are now driving electric. Oh, actually, no. The Zerg player is the one switching. Anyway, you get my point, right? This is a scary army. Oh, that's why we built the tactical nuke? To try and bust a bunch of those units? It was ambitious, I will say. Tactical nuke is not going to land. The Ghost ended up dying pretty much immediately. We have another tactical nuke, though. Immediately started up. I mean, some games in the past, right? Solar versus Björn, Solar versus Maru come to mind, where, well, let's just say that Solar probably still has nightmares over his entire Zerg army disappearing out of the air because of one tactical nuke. Parasitic Bomb is really good. Fungal Growth is really good, too. That is a StarCraft 2 wombo combo right there. So many of the Terran units indeed end up going down. Serral adds on more and more Corruptors. Spore Crawlers have been pushed to the front lines as well. We need these units on the other side of the map, man. I can't believe we actually still have them occupying the upper left. Not that they're super useful against those brutes necessarily, but we do need to be fighting with our entire army. Tactical nuke, by the way. Careful, 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 Serral! Oi, oi, oi. Okay. That was almost an absolute disaster. He flew away just barely in time. Can't believe he actually decided to play with death a little bit. Banks are reducing now. No longer do we really have any mining going on for either of these two players. Yeah, there's a little bit of it, but the total amount of money that's coming in is really not significant. Percival is getting 55 minerals a minute. Serral getting 300-ish. That's nothing. We are now living off of our retirement funds. AKA our bank, apparently. Spore crawlers coming up. Percival is still going to be able to mine out these mineral fields, though, at this rate. Vikings. Yep, that's a couple brute lords. Landing against the parasitic bomb is actually not something we see that often, but it works really well. It makes the parasitic bomb still appear in the sky, and it will deal damage if flying units are within range. But it no longer has it attached to the unit in the air. So you can land and then lift, and you'll be okay. Another tactical nuke. Mostly for zoning purposes, right? Mostly for clearing the position, which I quite like. And if you can indeed kill the army, that's nice. But yeah, that's a bunch of creep going down. Fungal growth yet again, though. Overextension here by Percival. You can't really be moving that deep onto creep against the Zerg with that many fungals. I think that's basically all the Vikings disappearing now. Still, though, Serral decides to back up when he gets in range of all of the ghost snipes. New Vikings are coming out, but that is the end of Percival's mineral bank. He's at 160 supply. Serral is still maxed, with a lot more money available to him. Now, though, there's also no longer any mining going on here in the bottom right. Only a couple of scraps remain. Spore Crawler needs a creep tumor just to be on creep, right? Otherwise, he's going to bleed out. Here we go. Serral's committing. He's opening up the choke point. There's still a lot of units in the upper left-hand corner, if I'm not mistaken, for Percival. Serral decides to back up yet again. Ghosts were sleeping on the job for just a moment, so as soon as they indeed appear again, Serral decides to back off. Remaxes once more. How many units do we still have over here? It's really not that much. Okay, the final mineral field in that section of the map also mined out. Everything is indeed empty. Serral! Percival scanned to see if there was any minerals here, and he decided to land mules just to take them. Look, if I can't have them, he says, you won't either. A couple Zerglings will get rid of it, but those minerals will permanently disappear. Here's a bunch of SCVs trying to do the same job. This is a little mini-game they're playing while the real engagement is happening in the bottom right. Vikings, big enough numbers to go ahead and one-shot Brute Lords. We have a lot of mules here working away on 190 minerals as well. But that's it. That is absolutely it. Braddock apparently decides to rage quit the game, even though we are approaching the tail end of it, because there's no way that this is going to go on for a whole lot longer. There is theoretically an outcome where neither player wants to move out. Since we're no longer fighting for minerals, there is technically a stalemate potential here. If both players were to agree to a draw, that would be allowed. I don't think it's gonna happen, though. Serral decides to sacrifice some drones. Look at his mineral count right now. Look at the banks. Oy, oy, oy. They're both 100% out. This is it. This is all we're going to get. Parasitic Bomb together with Fungal Growth yet again. Serral gets the combination once more. Brute Lords up in the air can obviously go after all of those Vikings that decide to land. And I think that may have just been exactly what the finisher was looking for. GG gets called. It is Serral who wins game number 1. Okay. And that will take us to Tourmaline. Game number 2. And match point here for Zerg. This particular match, by the way, I meant to mention this during the very first game, but I guess I got caught up in all the epicness. This particular match is from the Maestros of the Game 2 tournament. So this is an ongoing event organized by Kijkwijzer, where the finals will take place in Paris, but the group stage games, this is from the group stage of the tournament, all of them are played online. If you're interested in supporting them, I'll go ahead and pop some links down below in the description of this video. I know they're already working on the Maestros of the Game 3 tournament as well, which, if I were to make a guess, would probably take place sometime next year. I'm not exactly sure what their schedule is, but either way, you should certainly go ahead and support them. Because they do some awesome work. Actually, the French StarCraft 2 community is really hardcore. Like, there's... If you're mostly familiar with the English-speaking SC2 community, right? Which, considering you're listening to this, probably? I don't know. There are actually some hardcore groups in the different languages that kind of just exist in their own little bubble, if that makes sense. The French community is certainly one of them. Obviously, a lot of them do speak English. But there's a lot of French-speaking fans. There's a lot of Spanish-speaking fans. There's a lot of Chinese fans out there. There's a lot of Russian fans. There's a lot of different countries that kind of just, like, have their own little bubble. And even though, obviously, players do interact and different players from different regions do compete, it is really nice to see that the French community is still going this strong, you know? So Kijkwijzer, they do everything in French, as far as I'm aware, at the very least. I mean, they may have some stuff as well in English from time to time, but it's basically all French. And for them to be able to put up $20,000 tournaments, mostly funded by, of course, the fans, is incredible. Yeah, so big shout out to them. Like I mentioned, I will go ahead and pop some links down below in the description of this video. And also, without them, I wouldn't have been able to bring you this series, and it's been an absolute banger so far. Now imagine that previous game, though, with Adrenal Glands. Imagine if every Zergling that died in that previous game, well, maybe not all the early game Zerglings, but if 99% of the Zerglings that died in that previous game had more attack speed. Obviously, many of them still achieved the job that they were there for. Many of them are mostly just there to force multitasking, to tank a little bit of damage, to allow the Ultralists to go in, but it would make a very significant difference. Still, Percival held himself against the best player, in my opinion at the very least, in all of SC2. Serral hiding a bunch of Zerglings right over here on the left side of Tourmaline, behind the trees. Maybe they're on a bit of a camping trick. Always nice to see. Marines are looking around. What's this build order right here from Percival? So he's not scouted at all. We've gone into 5 Marines, no Reaper, no SCV out onto the map. And we're following this up with a little bit of Hellion production. First Hellion, though, came out of the factory without a reactor on it. This is like a home-cooked meal right here for Percival. A home-cooked strategy. Okay. I'm sure it's fine. As long as the Lynx don't get the full wraparound. I mean, we are going to see the Lynx get their wings here. Yeah, there's more than enough Marines available this time around compared to the previous game. In the previous game, the Lynx ended up immediately sniping 2 Marines and I think 2 SCVs, if I'm not mistaken. Keep in mind, by the way, that Percival really did not have a strong start in that previous match, right? Like, he ended up getting his Hellion surrounded. It basically nullified a lot of what the Raven could have done, and he was kind of forced into that defensive position. He had to swap over from a very aggressive start to a very defensive follow-up, and he did so incredibly smoothly. He played the map, he played it really well. I don't think this scoreboard is really surprising anybody. Like, if you were to only tune in right about right now, yeah, you'd probably look at the scoreboard and be like, yeah, that makes sense. But it really doesn't tell you the full story. Command Center number 3 now coming up. This is a strange build here from Percival. Throwing a couple of curveballs. Are we going to be sending in like a... are we going to go for like a Hellbat push with Stimpak or something along those lines? Probably not. Important not to lose this medevac though. Don't believe that this is really going to be able to do too much. Hey look, we got some Protoss representation as well in this game. Shout out to the Protoss players out there. I believe you got... Yeah, there you go. You have another one over here too, man. It's good to see you guys as well today. Creep tumor. Not bad. Hellions trying to get into the base. Serral positions an evolution chamber to try and cut that off. We'll have to pick up and get on out of there once more. Yeah, but this is a home-cooked strategy right here from Percival. You'll love to see it. Now, it is important to note here that this early game is coming at the cost of a delayed third command center. A couple Hellions ended up dying over here. Medevac may also be in some trouble, but look at this. Serral is forced. I think the Medevac is not likely to make it out. We have a Liberator as well, trying its absolute best. He's gonna settle for an extra Queen kill if he can indeed get it. Nah, transfuses. We'll keep it alive. Serral body blocking here as well, shielding those Marines to make sure that they would not be popped into the Medevac yet again. But 7 drones end up going down. Liberator here in the back of the natural expansion 2 being an absolute nuisance. Curveball has been thrown. And while Serral sort of caught it, it was clumsy. 7 drones going down early game is not bad. But, like I mentioned, the third command center is a bit late, right? Just like the Squirrel, the Terran's economy is not gonna be amazing. My phase when the Terran's economy is not amazing. 1-1 upgrades for the Zerg. Roly-poly upgrade as well, though. For the Banelings. Overlord ends up going down because with the Medevacs here providing the high ground vision. And the Medevac actually snuck home. I can't believe it. That's crazy. There were so many queens on duty to make sure that this Medevac was not going to be able to make it home. But indeed, it managed to slither away. And I think that this is indeed the heroes. What do you call this? No, not the surround. There's a word for this. It's slipping my mind right now. Anyways. Marines going into the right side of the map. Okay. Lings and Banes going to be good enough. Hive coming up once more here for Serral. Take your guess. Will he get Adrenal Glands as soon as the Hive finishes up this time around? Yes or no? Will he make Adrenal Glands at all this game? What I think happened in the previous one, and maybe at some point at the last stages of the game, he did end up researching it, I don't know, but I think what happened is he clicked it, started up the upgrade, or believed he had started up the upgrade, didn't have the resources for it, and then found himself caught with his pants down. Almost here, just like the Terran's natural expansion, although the Banelings are still just going to open up the door. Zerglings run in. Banelings get targeted down by the Marines. Good micro here by Percival. He's simultaneously pushing as well on the right side of the map. That's -2 queens as well as a hatchery. Big Zergling counterattack now coming across the map too. 6 SCVs die, but again, an excellent fight here for Percival. He does not flinch. I really like that he committed to the push on the right. Maybe he's overcommitting now, though. The Zerg army's coming back home. Getting so many creep tumors, too. Siege tanks are in a really lovely position. I think the Medevacs are here in plentiful numbers. Should be enough for Serral to push it away eventually. Marines pick up. Yep. Get on out of there. Goodbye, siege tanks. But this is fine. We wave hello to the Protoss players down below once more. Oh, look at this. Percival, dude. Let's go. I'm like the #1 Percival fan out there, I'm pretty sure. Never mind. I used to be the #1 Percival fan out there. Whoa! Gamers. Take a moment. Take a moment to hit the like button if you didn't already previously. There it is. Wow. He did it. GG? No. But this is a really good start to the game for Percival. And he's got to keep up the pressure. 2-2 is moments away from being done. Usually, that's when a lot of the Terrans go for their first big move out. 2-2 finishing is the big key for Terrans to go out onto the map and really start taking straight up engagements. He's already been doing so for a while. Planetary Fortress will be done in just a sec. That is a 4th command center done. Serral, in the meantime, has no creep, or very little, and he's on 4 bases himself. We're looking now at 4 base versus 4 base, with Zerg desperately trying to take a 5th, but right as Terran takes 2-2 upgrades. This fourth, or this fifth base over here in the middle is actually in some trouble. Zerglings do slip through the cracks once more because the supply depot wall never was rebuilt. Careful pickup, get on out of there, good. Likewise as well on the right side of the map. Try not get ahead. Oh, he decided to target a couple more banelings there before ultimately lifting up. Supply depot drop, it's gonna save it. No, it will end up going down. It does do a full heal when it lands. Okay. Ultra Cavern as well here for Serral now. And we may have to make a swap on over towards a bit of a slower paced game. I think we may have one more attack in us though to potentially snipe the expansion here that Serral's going for in the middle. Ooh, Widowmine trying its absolute best. Marauder kept in the front. Yeah, this base can actually still be sniped, I think. Yep. Nicely done, man. There is a fifth command center out. It's flying on over to the left. At this rate, Percival is going to be able to take it pretty easily. Zerglings, though, once more slip through the cracks. Careful for the banelings. Careful for the banelings, Percival! Ooh. Okay, that is 16 SCVs down the drain. He's trying to return the favor on the right side of the map, too. Likewise, we had a bit of a push over here on the left. Marine drop inside of the main base. That was a good exchange here for Serral. Widowmine desperately tries to get in position. He does decide to burrow in time. Queen is gonna get a pre-transfusion just to save it. Serral very quick on the keyboard. 3-3 is gonna be available for both players soon. Okay. Ultralisk coming up. Chitinous plating. Very important. Both players really staying on top of their upgrades. It needs to be said. Serral still, though, on just 4 bases, which has me a little bit worried. Oh, banelings once more do slip through the cracks. We have no energy at all on these medevacs, man. It reminds me of the Clem games. Clem always likes to keep up the pressure as well. You know, when you're unable to regen any energy in the medevacs, that you have indeed been super aggressive. Fifth hatchery now done on the right side of the map. Serral squeezing out a handful of drones. We see the spire building inside of the main base. So similar order and things, other than Adrenal Glands, of course, as we had in the previous game. Serral's creep spread is extremely lackluster. Honestly impressed that he's still in this game to, like, just in general, you know? Like, the fact that he's still in this is really quite nice. A lot of Zork players would have already crumbled under the pressure at this point. I know I would have. Ghost Academy now for Percival, who's got himself a 5th and then a 2nd planetary fortress done. He's rebuilding some of the lost workers. We had one of those big Zorkling Baneling connections. That really did help out. He's not going to slow down, though. Hatchery in the middle gets denied yet again. Parasitic Bomb over here. He's in the meantime busy microing on the right side of the map. A lot of Zorklings are available here, though. Medevac stopped to stare for just a moment. Looks like one of the Medevacs ended up getting blasted. Serral counterattacking now into the middle of the map. And that will be a dead planetary fortress, but at what cost? This is not a rich Zork player. It's not like the previous game where he's sitting on a bank of 20,000 resources, you know? Like, he can't even remax immediately. So that's expensive, but he felt like he needed to somehow, some way, get some sort of damage done. Because this is also likely now an opportunity where Percival is going to sit back for a moment. And forcing the Terran to sit will now also give him an opportunity to maybe breathe for just a moment. Re-establish the creep a little bit. Re-establish this base in the middle. Set up some potential surrounds once more. Both players have been juggling like balls for a while. It's actually not balls, it's like firing torches, you know, like fired up torches. One little mistake and everything goes horribly wrong. They've been doing that against one another for a while. Now we get a bit of a reset. And how do we celebrate the reset? Well, we get some more creep, and we get some more command centers. Liberator is going to go down on the right side of the map. Liberator inside of the main base, also not really achieving much. Still forcing some energy, I guess, out of the Viper. Now, I like this position, though, for Percival quite a bit. It's not an easy one by any stretch, but he's got a good economy, he's got good upgrades, and now he's settling into, once more, a proper late-game transition. Widowmine in the far upper left. Denying this expansion, denying a bunch of Zerglings. Not bad. Terran army here in the middle. Widowmine. Ooh, does get blasted. New command center building over here. That's not likely to happen. Is Serral actually going to push through here? Well, there's not enough Terran units available right now. Percival also thought that this Zerg player was going to back up. Not the case. Serral sees an opportunity and strikes while the iron is hot. New command centers immediately start up. New planetary will be coming up as well in a moment. Hatchery building in the far bottom right. Let's maybe do a little bit of first-person view. This is what Serral is looking at. It allows me to put my hands off the keyboard for a moment too, man. Yeah, Serral not necessarily, like, this is obviously fast, but he's not necessarily the fastest player in the world. A meager 512 actions on average per minute. But it's very precise, right? It's extremely fast, of course. But it's very precise, too. Let's see what the Terran is up to in the meantime. Desperately trying to keep track of all of the different bits of movement out onto the map. I think one of the things, if you mostly watch casted games, to forget about very easily is how zoomed in of a game StarCraft 2 actually is. So we see this much right now, which is the equivalent of the player's vision. But when you're actually in a game, there's also a gigantic interface that takes up like the bottom third or so of the screen. There's really not that much you can see. Alright, Serral may be taking a bit of a page out of Rogue's book here. He did make a lot of overseers in the previous game too, but we're going up to 18 in this particular instance. That's not bad. 18 and double Nidus Worm is what usually we would see from Rogue. He would go up to like 50 overseers and then triple Nidus Worm. This is maybe slightly more conservative. Still effective though, because you can send these little changelings in, and there's always going to be at least one that tends to make it through the cracks eventually. We're once more sending it though. Double planetary fortress being set up, but the double planetary fortress is not yet done. Fungal growth onto the ghost, I guess, is the goal. We see an EMP instead. That's a lot of blown up SCVs. 2 of the command centers also get denied here. Yet again, Serral secures the position. What about the fight over here on the right? No! Micro for Percival! Oh no, it's a disaster! Margin for error is tiny. But since the creep is laid down once more... Oh man, this is also... Is it within vision? It's just barely within vision. But this is in the far back of the Terran's main. Bunch of misreadied SCVs in the middle of the map too. We see some Terran units desperately scrambling into the main yet again. One Zergling pops out, not going to happen. We should see a snipey there onto the Overseer. So no more tricks in that direction of the map, but Serral indeed does decide to go back in once more. Many of the Banelings here do get blown up, but that's also a planetary fortress now down the drain. Serral decides to drop more and more of those changelings. He will have to micro the Ultralisk back if he wants to keep them alive. Planetary fortress done over on the left side of the map, but 20 SCVs die. And despite being really quite far behind after the earlier stages of this match, Serral has climbed back into the driver's seat. He's taken the far upper left as well as the bottom right. The creep spread is being re-established, and he's denied the Terran's economy repeatedly. Previously, he seemed to be reacting to what the Terran was doing. Now we are proactively having units in position at the right time already. He's easing back into the control of this game, which is a really big deal. We've seen how good Percival is defensively, though, in that previous match, but I do believe that this is a bit of a more difficult map to actually establish bases on. And Serral is already taking the upper left and the bottom right. It means that he is gonna mine out the 2 shared bases, right? Like, one of these 2 needs to go to the Terran. We are significantly earlier on that on this map, just because of the layout. Sanctuary 3 just doesn't really allow you the same type of expansion layout here for the Zerg. But it's absolutely pivotal here for Percival to deny one of those bases. He needs to get rid of one of them, because one of them needs to be his. What I really like for Serral as well is that he's actually prioritizing mining the corner bases. Full saturation on both of them. Once the minerals here are gone, they're gone. Takes about 10, 12 minutes or so for a base like this to fully mine out. And I think he's been mining them for at least several minutes already. Percival finally taking another base. Don't think Serral's going to be too upset about this one, though. This map is also very spread out, right? Like, the reaches of the map are really far apart. So, Serral getting all of this movement speed advantage right now with Ultraling Bane is massive. He can appear on the left side of the map and then be in the bottom right immediately after. This is a really large chunk of the Terran units, though. We do have a pretty good Sim City here as well on this base on the left. Still a scary army, too. One that will be ready to roll into that base if they can. I think that's exactly what we're going to see. Ooh. Yeah, that'll be another planetary fortress down. A lot of SCVs as well. Oh, actually? Ooh. He decided to commit more of the banelings there onto the SCVs than the planetary fortress. It allows the planetary here to survive. Yeah, you know what we needed? Microbial Shroud. Actually not a bad idea in that previous game, or in that previous fight here on the left. Microbial Shroud to try and keep the Ultralisk alive for a little bit longer. Probably would have secured the kill on the base. Serral's bank is growing. The only thing that's lacking is gas. So he's not taking any of the gas geysers on the newly made bases in a while. Percival is going to be able to shut this one down now, it seems. I say that. He needs to be careful. Fungal. Big fungal. Huge fungal. That's going to allow the Ultras and the Banelings such an easy access. Serral still decides to give up on the base. Loads the drones into the Nidus Worm. Much safer way of getting them out of that position. Okay. Quite a bit of mining done on this base. But this is still one that is certainly worth taking if the game indeed does go on for long enough. It does mean, though, that Percival is mostly given up on the base in the upper left. Still forced to leave some units behind here just to mine out this base of his own. Same for the base in the middle. But soon he can start setting his attention up to only the bottom right-hand corner of the map. Serral decides to retake it for a moment longer, though. He wants to mine that base again if he can. Zorklings get a pretty good wraparound. Corruptors cover part of the screen. A lot of changelings drop behind to prevent the Marines and Marauders from escaping. Also making it more difficult for the Ghost to now run on over. 8 SCVs died together with a command center. These two CCs need to be continuing their production here in just a moment. And Serral has really grabbed the reins of this game once again. Very impressive. Oh, another big fungal. Dang. The man does not slow down, does he? He sees an opportunity and he immediately strikes. Percival still has his eyes set on this base in the far bottom right. Nidus Worm yet again in the bottom left. There's so much action all over the map. That was a little bit of panicked all-army hotkeying, if I'm not mistaken. Zerk once more engaging. The distraction of that Nidus Worm in the bottom left is so annoying. Corruptors swoop in. They're going to be nibbling away at all of those Liberators up in the air. I really love how commonplace Corruptors have become in this matchup, but ultimately, it's too much Zerk. GG gets gold, and it's Serral who ends up winning 2-0 over Percival. Now, I don't believe there's a lot of people surprised by that end result, right? Serral winning 2-0 over Percival, sure. But I gotta say, Percival, he really held himself well. GG.